In this video, I'll go over each command for basic mode in Omega Mouse. Now, the behavior of the different voice commands in Omega Mouse change slightly depending on the mode that you're in. So I thought I'd go through each of the modes in basic mode and demonstrate how they work. The main feature of basic mode is that it's basically like light mode, where popping moves the cursor and using yum or gum will actually do a left click. But the only difference is where in light mode, the cursor stopped moving in between all these different actions. Basic mode keeps head tracking on. So the cursor will continue to move in between all the actions you do. Might be helpful if you need to have a little bit more maneuverability. So it's a different option, so I'll show you how it works. To keep this video a little shorter, the first four voice commands, Omega Mouse, Omega Restart, Control Mouse, and Zoom Mouse, I'm going to skip over because you can look at my full mode video for that or read the README on them because they do the same thing in all the different modes. So let's demonstrate how the popping and sort of head tracking always being on works. Omega Mouse. Yum. So as you can see, the head tracking just sort of stays on. Even though I use the yum command, which is a left click command, it doesn't freeze the cursor. It just allows it to keep moving a little freely. Might help make things a little more fluid in terms of workflow. So yummer and gummer are also left clicks that will raise modifier keys when you do them, and the cursor will keep moving. So let me get that other file up so I can demonstrate this. Twill. Yum. Copy that. Cut that. Yum. Yum. Paste that. Controller. Yummer. Yum. Yum. So you can see I was able to control select two different items, and then when I just did a normal yum on the next one, the modifier was released. And yeah, controller is just a custom voice command I have to hold down control. Twill, which I showed earlier, just does a double click, and it keeps the cursor moving. Twill. Yum. Then drag and drop works like light mode, where once you say drag, you're going to have to say drop in order to actually do the proper mouse release. Drag will actually release the mouse keys before it starts to drag. That's how the community repo works. And drop will then release the mouse keys, which I'll demonstrate. I haven't mentioned this in my other videos because I forgot, but when you drop in Omega Mouse, it actually also releases modifier keys. I didn't mention that in those other videos, but I'll probably write something in the description on those. Drag. Drop. Drag. Drop. And then the wait command does still work in basic mode, so I'll show you that. Wait. Wait. You can see it caught some of what I was saying before when I turned it on, but you can see that even though basic mode always has head tracking on, you can use the wait function and the cursor will stop moving. And then Omega check state does the same thing that it does in all the other modes. When you do Omega check state, it'll show the first pop done variable in the Talon log. Let me show you that. Omega check state. As you can see, first pop done equals false. That's you don't need to worry about that in light mode. That's only for full mode, but it's there all the same. So anyways, though, that's sort of the basics of basic mode. It's called basic mode because it's very similar to control mouse, just the default. It's just that instead of eye tracking being on all the time, it only turns on when you make the pop sound, and then you have to use something else to click. So it's it's very similar in that way. So like the code's not that interesting, so it's basic mode. But what I will also say is that basic mode has the highest chance of that hidden feature triggering. As you could see, the cursor, I had it up at the top of the screen, and then I had moved my head and it popped down. You can rewind it if you want to see that. And that's just one of those hidden features in Talon voice at the moment. When head tracking is on and gaze tracking is off, and control mouse is on, then when you look away from the cursor, it's supposed to capture where you're looking and just move over there with just a head move. So that's like kind of a better way of doing things than this way, which is where you have to pop to get it over. It's so much easier just to move your head. But when you're like me and you have to use one eye tracking, that doesn't work very often. So that's why I had to create this like basic mode, but it happens sometimes. And when it does, it can kind of throw you off a little bit. But then you just have to pop back to where you want it to be, and then it'll work. For me, it always catches right in that area of the screen. But anyways, so that's kind of a heads up on that. The other versions aren't as affected because the head tracking stops often. That's part of the functionality of those. But yeah, hopefully this gives you a little basic idea of how basic mode works. So that concludes sort of the 3 different videos of the 3 different modes of Omega Mouse. I hope that it was helpful. Thanks for watching.